ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा तदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. So I could hear a lot of beeps while we were doing the prayers here. So I see Varshana Mataji has joined us. Madhav Sangeeti Mataji is also joined. Very nice. Okay. So let us get started then. What words are we going to do today?
Mataji, 728.
728. That's right, for 500 points. So let's bring up verse number 728. Okay. Bhagavad-gita. Hare Krishna, Simi Mataji. Good to have you here.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Dandavat pranams. Okay, so we are sharing the screen here, 7.28 on the screen. And it's a very famous verse. Most of you would have already heard it many times in the temple being quoted by other speakers. Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvanda moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavitaha. Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavrataha. Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavrataha. What does that mean here? Let's look at the synonyms. Yesham is who. Tu is but. Antagatam. Antagatam means completely eradicated. Completely eradicated. What is completely eradicated? Papam. Sin. Jananam of these janas, of these persons. Punya, pious. Karmanam, whose previous activities, they. Tvandva, of duality. Moha, delusion. Nirmukta, free from. Bhajante, engage in devotional service. Mam, to me. Dridhavrataha, with determination. So what is the Sanskrit for with determination?
Dridvrataha.
Dridhavataha.
Dridvrataha.
Dridhavataha, sorry.
Dridvrataha.
Yeah. And then what is completely eradicated?
Antagatam.
Antagatam. And what is engaging in devotional service?
Bhajante.
Bhajante, correct. And what is duality?
Dvanda.
Dvandva. Yeah, dvandva. Dva means two, right? Okay, and what is but,
Two.
right? And what is previous activities?
Karmana.
Karmana, right. And what is of the persons?
Jananam.
Jananam. And what is just person? From this, what will you conclude?
Jana.
Jana, yeah. Simple person is Jana, and of the person becomes of these persons, becomes Jananam. Okay, now let's look at the translation. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are freed from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. Let's read it one more time. Persons who have acted piously in previous life and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are freed from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Sure.
Those eligible for elevation to the transcendental position are mentioned in this verse. And what is the eligibility?
Eligibility.
Eligibility.
Engage persons who acted
piously
In the previous life.
Acted piously in the previous life.
And his actions are fully eradicated, completely eradicated.
Which actions?
Sinful actions.
Sinful actions, right? What is the Sanskrit for eradicated?
Eradicated. मतलब देखना पड़ेगा.
इसी वर्ष में होगा ना? What is eradicated?
antagatam.
Antagatam, right? Yeah. So the criteria for the eligibility for elevation to the transcendental position. So one, you said they have acted piously. What is the next one?
And whose sinful actions are completely eradicated.
Okay.
And in this life.
Okay. They have acted piously in the previous and in this life also.
In this life also.
Okay. And their sinful reactions are completely eradicated. And anything more?
Freed from dualities and delusion.
They are freed from the dualities of delusion.
Delusion.
Yeah. Right. And what is delusion?
Delusion is
this body, and I'm in sorrow, or I'm in happiness. Dualities like sorrow, happiness.
That is duality. Yeah, that is duality.
Duality.
I was asking what is delusion?
Delusion.
Delusion is moha.
No, but what is moha? What is delusion?
Delusion is Mataji, having a misconception that I am the
I am the
the
God.
body and
Yeah, I and mine.
Why? Yeah.
I and mine.
Yeah, that's also a delusion. That I'm the
What
body.
is the difference between illusion and delusion?
Oh,
Mm.
Mataji, Brahm is the correct word for this?
No, you first understand the meaning.
Yeah. Confused, Mataji.
Huh?
Illusion is confused and delusion is misinterpretation.
Okay,
Desire and hate, Mataji.
try to remember it with the, you all know optical illusion, right?
Desire and hate.
No. Optical illusion you understand, right? You all know what is optical illusion? Mrik Trishna? Mirage?
Yes, Mataji, that you can't see the thing properly. Your senses are not actually correct and you
Right.
can't see the things
Exactly.
in the
So
right way.
illusion is when your senses are not able to see things properly. Right? For example, your eyes are there and they will see water there, where there is no water in the desert.
Mataji, is this delusion that is misinterpretation? Delusion.
Illusion.
Yeah,
When your
misinterpretation.
senses, okay? Senses. And delusion is that comes not from your senses or external senses. It's a belief. And it is a strongly held belief on something which is false. And
like mirage, you are saying.
no.
Huh.
Mirage, in mirage, your senses are unable to see because of imperfect senses.
Correct.
Right? So they will see water when the water is not there, right? In delusion has got nothing to do with the senses, in the sense it's not that your eye is capturing something and you are misinterpreting that. In delusion, what happens is it's a very firmly held, you will have some firm, family held belief, whereas the reality is to the contrary. Right? For example, sometimes people come and to do with the mind more. Sometimes people will come and say, people are out to murder me. My whole family is trying to poison me. And nobody is doing that. You can see that happen in the family. Everybody is nice and loving, but the old man thinks they're out to kill me. So that is a delusion coming from your mind. And we are reading about illusion and delusion in chapter 2 of Bhagavad-gita.
252 mein tha, Mataji, I think.
In that verses, yeah. So take it as a homework, Varshana Mataji, and give me the Sanskrit for illusion and delusion. Because we did that, right? In the chapter 2 of Bhagavad-gita on the Sunday lectures like that. So find out and then share with us next week here, right? But I just want to let you know that easy way to remember is illusion. With optical illusion, we all know, right? Mirage, where your senses are capturing, not able to see something.
Correct. Mataji, this one, no? Yadate moha kalilam. When your intelligence has passed out of dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard.
Correct. And how does he translate moha to Prabhupada? Yatate moha kalinam.
Buddhir.
No. Moha kalilam. He would translate that, right? In the translation, look at
moha. Moha is of illusion, Mataji. Moha.
For example, somebody might even think that, oh, I'm very beautiful. They're like, oh, she's deluded. She thinks she's very beautiful, like that. Okay. So why did we get to the topic of delusion? Freed from the dualities of delusion. Right? Dualities of delusion. The delusion will come with, will be accompanied by this is good, this is bad. Right? It's a concept that we can have in our mind. Whereas there is no strong evidence to support our thinking. Like sometimes people say, and they get, they teach us a lot at in office that don't don't have stereotype thoughts. For example, don't think that women are physically weak always. That's a wrong conception that you have in your mind, right? There can be some very strong, physically strong women also like that, right? So that is delusion. So we'll talk about that further. So basically, this is now telling you about how do you get to do devotional service. So you want to get into the school of devotional service. So what is the entrance fee that you have to pay? So what is the entrance fee? What do you have to do?
You have to act piously.
Act piously in previous life and
in this life.
And even in this life, right? And then your sinful actions are completely eradicated. And you are freed from the dualities of delusion. They engage themselves in my service with determination. So Prabhupada here is saying, those eligible for elevation to the transcendental position are mentioned in this verse. For those who are sinful, atheistic, foolish, and deceitful, it's very difficult to transcend the duality of desire and hate. Only those who have passed their lives in practicing the regulative principles of religion, who have acted piously, and who have conquered sinful reactions can accept devotional service and gradually rise to the pure knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then gradually they can meditate. As you can see, Prabhupada is using the word gradually repeatedly here, right? Because the process is gradual. Then gradually they can meditate in trance on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is a process of being situated on the spiritual platform. This elevation is possible in Krishna consciousness in the association of pure devotees. For in the association of great devotees can one be delivered from delusion. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.2 that if one actually wants to be liberated, he must render service to the devotees. Mahat sevam dwaram ahur vimuktehe. But one who associates with materialistic people is on the path leading to the darkest region of existence. Tamo dwaram yoshitam sangi sangam. All the devotees of the Lord traverse this earth just to recover the conditioned souls from their delusion. The impersonalists do not know that forgetting their constitutional position as subordinate to the Supreme Lord is the greatest violation of God's law. What is the greatest violation of God's law?
Forgetting their constitutional position.
And what is the constitutional position?
Being subordinate.
We are the subordinate.
To the Supreme Lord.
The servant of the.
Unless one is reinstated in his own constitutional position, it is not possible to understand the Supreme Personality or to be fully engaged in his transcendental and loving service with determination. What is the Sanskrit for determination?
Dridhavrata.
Dridhavrataha, right? So Dridha Vrata. So Prabhupada used this, referred to this Bhagavatam 5.2.2. Let's just look at that. And as soon as my mouse allows me to do that, I will do it.
Madhuri, one question came to my mind. Can I ask it?
Yeah.
Madhuri, how to come to know that whatever a person is going through some situation, and these are the results of his previous karma or of this karma. I mean, you feel at times that I haven't done any impious activities in this life. This is what one feels according to his own thought process. But how to come to know that it is previous or it is this?
And what will you achieve from that? You always be result oriented, right? Be result oriented, and let's address this, right? That thought or the desire has come in the mind to have answer to that question, right?
Yeah.
We want to have answer.
Just like a desire, nothing else.
It's a desire, right? I want to know. Otherwise, see, Prabhupada also says something very interesting, and he says that instead of trying to know, you are fallen into an ocean of material world of life and death, right? Sansara davanala lida loka, and yeah. So anyway, we are in the forest of fire. We are in a dire situation. So at that time, when you are in a dire situation, what should your foremost thought be? Who pushed me into this fire? Did I fall down by myself?
No, how to get out of it.
How to get out of the fire, right? So he always says that you should focus always on how to get out of the fire, okay? So now we should know that's what we should do. However, to answer your question, so now somebody is misbehaving with me. That's why I want to know, right? If I got a lot of money and there's no problem. I don't ask any questions. The questions I start asking is when I'm in trouble. And then the question is that, okay, what happened? Is it that I did something? And sometimes it's very difficult to find out that we are doing something wrong, right? Because we are superstars, right? We don't do anything wrong. That's what the mind thinks. Okay, that's a delusion.
Somebody had asked me this question, so I couldn't.
That's fine, right? So let us take both the situations, right? There can be two situations only. One is that, or at least on the face of it, there are two situations. One situation is that I am suffering the karmic reactions. Okay? And the second is this is the first time. Right? And we always now, okay, so there are two situations. That's normally we think there's a third situation also. We will talk about that later. So now, when you have, let's take the first situation. Okay? So somebody is misbehaving with you and you are thinking this is my karmic reaction. Okay? So now at the end of it, what is the end result? Somebody behaved badly with you and you're saying that this is a result of my karmic reactions. What is the end result?
Mataji, I always feel that this had to happen and it is better if you accept it nicely.
No. That's not the thing. That thought process has already gone through. Yes. You have gone through that process, now you are accepting, right?
Yes.
You're accepting that this is because of the previous karma. So I'm saying at the end of it, now what happens? What's the end result?
You either move away or you try to resolve it with the person. If you can't, then you move away.
No, end result, there will be some end result, right? Either you move away or you give it back, right? And then, and more. There's one more end result. Now let's take the two answers that Mataji gave, right? First is that you talk it out to that person, okay? So they were rude to you, you felt bad, right? You talked it out and the issue is buried, okay? Now, so at the end of it, maybe you became friends again. That could be one result, right? Or you might decide to stay away because you are scared or afraid that that person might do it again and hurt you, right? So you can move away from there. But what has happened to your karmic reaction in that case, in this case? Right? We all said this is because of my karmic reaction, right? This person, I did something to this person last maybe in this life or in previous life.
It's dissolved.
It is dissolved, right? Okay. Varshana Mataji. So
yes,
if somebody is behaving badly with us, and as they always say that between stimulus and response, you have the choice to make. If somebody is insulting to you, then you can be immediately back, you can give another insult back, right? Or like you said, that we can think it through and say, oh no, this could be my karmic reaction coming back to me, right? I should just that, and my karmic reaction will be gone, right? On the other hand, if we don't do that, right? We don't do that. Then we react to that person. So somebody insulted you, you insulted back, then what do you think is going to happen?
It will build a cycle
spoil the
of reactions, karma and reaction, action and reaction.
The action, yeah. So they did some action and then you reacted. Then do you think there'll be some more action?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It'll build a cycle of
It
this.
will build a cycle, right? So then
right,
people react to you, right? Maybe at this point they can't react to you, but so now you have a karmic debt. So you have to come back again.
Yeah, I'm carrying it on for the next
Right.
birth.
Right? Yeah. So, and that way you will keep on coming back to this material world.
Oh,
So
but what
which-
if you have a situation if somebody is, being bad to you or somehow, but it's intolerable, but the situation doesn't stop, where you can just talk to them or you can move away. What if you're unable to move away because of circumstances and the bad, whatever the circumstance is that is disturbing you or upsetting you just goes on?
Yeah, and that is why devotional service comes into picture. Nothing else can control your mind other than devotional service.
No, but it's not
Nothing
just your
else can
mind.
change.
What if you're in danger or what if you're
Leave.
emotionally abused, but you cannot
Nine-
move out of the circumstance?
911 is there for physical abuse, right? And 108 is for mental abuse, right?
Physically, you can't put yourself out of the situation. So the karma carries on. I mean, there are various factors in life.
See,
And
also think that the fact that a person is not able to move out of the situation is also that person's karma.
yeah, but what does one do about it? I mean, you've got to do something about it. Just like if you have a disease, a physical disease, it could be that karma, but we try to cure it. We try to be comfortable. We try to get out of it. So
Yes.
what does one do about it?
So that's what I'm saying. That also depends on your karma, right? If your purpose is to save your body, right? So that's why I said 911, you can always dial. Now, so many people will not dial 911 because they are living in a family, in a situation, like for a lady, husband is abusive. They will suffer the abuse rather than dial 911. Why? Because they find some gain there, right? So either be bold and get out of the situation, or you will suffer. And that is also to a certain extent dependent on the karmic reactions that we have. Why some people are able to get away and why some are not, right? Like that. So it depends. Some people get their independence of that. So they were supposed to suffer that karma only for that much of time. They suffered it. They are out of it, right? Now, so suffering.
Yes, Madhuri, there are at times situations when you cannot get out of the
Like a woman cannot get out of marriage.
cycle.
Children are
You see
small.
somebody.
Yeah. Sometimes they will just grin and bear it. Children are small, financially not dependent. I mean, there are institutions that take care of these things, but then they don't take that decision, right? For whatever reason, there'll be so many reasons that will be there that come into picture. And
It's so difficult to take these kind of decisions, Mother.
Yes,
It's
yes.
very difficult.
Yeah.
To take those kind of situations. And the best thing is, I think, the devotional service. You reading Bhagavad-gita itself is a devotional service. So I personally feel that this gives you so much of mental peace that you don't have to, you automatically, Mataji, get out of it. You feel that you are secured. This is 911 for me.
Yeah, Bhagavad-gita. Yeah, so devotional service brings you peace. And only that can bring you peace because that's our constitutional position, right? In any other thing. That doesn't mean that we don't do our duty, that we don't fight. I mean, Arjuna did fight and Krishna did tell him to fight, right? But you can fight and then again that karmaneva adhikaraste ma pravesh, right? You fight, but don't get too much into what's going to happen as a result of my fight. If you focus on the results. You do your fight, you do your duty, leave it to Krishna. And then whatever results come from Krishna, we accept that. It's a very difficult thing to do. But as Arunimati was saying, actually, we don't have a choice. And the day you realize that I'm in a situation where I don't have a choice. Do I have a choice not to have cancer? Do I have a choice not to have a heart attack?
No.
Right? Some of the most healthy and exercising, and one of my friends actually at work, in my previous company, he went to the gym and came back to his office and seat, and he died. He died in the gym, actually, office gym,
Yes.
right? So the moment when you realize that you are completely helpless, what's the good thing about that realization?
At least you have come to some conclusion that.
Okay, there you have come to that conclusion, right? Okay, now let's look at helpless. So give me some examples of helpless being in this world who are very, very helpless.
Like
Draupadi Mai.
Shastrik,
Draupadi Mai.
Gajendra,
Prahlad
a
Maharaj.
baby,
Yeah, but
a
how
child.
about nowadays? Do you see in your lives
Child, and everyone is helpless, but yeah,
everyone
child.
is helpless? Yeah, but generally you take children, they are helpless,
Yeah,
right? So what do children do when they are helpless? Whose shelter do they take?
mother.
They go to their mother.
Mother, right? Or if a small child is being beaten in the school, he has a elder brother, he'll go to the elder brother, bring the elder brother once to beat that, right? So when you realize that you are in a very precarious situation, you're completely helpless, it's easy to surrender to the Lord. Right? It's easier because now you know there's no other way out. I really need a super being to help me, because with my capabilities and whatever is there here, I cannot do anything. Right? Even when a patient is in the hospital and when the doctors give up, what do the doctors sometimes say? That now is the time for you to
Bhagwan hi bachayenge aapko.
Bhagwan hi bachayenge, right? They say, because he can do it, because God can do it. He's superior, he's supernatural, he's got those superior powers there. Right? So to answer your question, Varshana Mataji, right? So there are choices in the ways that you can react, and then there are consequences to the way we react. So thinking, willing, feeling, and acting. Try to keep a lot of distance between them, right? And it comes from constant. It'll come from constant practice. Now, how will you be able to do constant practice, right? I mean, person is getting agitated. I remember when I was growing up, the biggest thing that girls of my age did not like was after they got married, the expectation was that they will go and touch the feet of their in-laws. And they used to get very agitated. Why should I do that? So when we analyze our lives, we will also understand that most of the time, most of our troubles are because of our own ego. I'm not belittling the fact that saying that, some of our troubles are really genuine. They are, but most of the times they are just like that. She didn't respect me. She didn't smile to me. She said this, she said that, like that. And most of the times it's like that. Now, in today's verse, and that's why I wanted to go to Bhagavatam 5.5.2, and I think now is a good time for me to do that, because I can continue answering Varshana Mataji's question and continue to be connected with today's verse as well. So here it is saying, Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Vimuktes, Tamo Dwaram Yoshitam Sangi Sangam, Mahantaste Samachitta Prashanta, Vimanyavaha Suhridaha Sadhuvo Ye. So this is 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where there's a story of Rishabh-dev, right? So Rishabh-dev, you should remember this name, Rishabh-dev, right? So this Rishabh-dev from the Vaishnava parampara. So Rishabh-dev is actually the incarnation of God. He's the incarnation of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so Rishabh-dev had 100 sons. And these 100 sons, out of these 100 sons, for 90 of his sons, he said that you go and you do, how the priests are there? There's a wedding ceremony to be done, so you'll do it, Namkaran, Annaprashan, all those, Griha Pravesh, all those prayers that death, all those prayers that they do, you need a priest. So then you do those priestly activities, right? And then there were 10 who were remaining out of those 90. And then out of those 10, one is a very famous person that you all know of, and he had something to do with a deer. So who is that?
Bharat
Bharat Maharaj.
Bharat Maharaj.
Yeah. So that takes care of 91. Okay? He had 100 sons. So other 9 sons, right? They continued, they became sannyasis and they went from one place to another and they used to preach. So those 9 are also known as Nava-yogendras. Okay? So when people talk about Nava-yogendras, then you know that these are the 9 sons of Rishabh-dev, who is God. Right? The God came and then, he was, these 100 sons were born through him. And out of these, one we know is Bharat, and the other 9 are Nava-yogendras. So Rishabh-dev gave teachings to his sons. And as part of these teachings, and it's a very strong, very, very strong teaching. So this one coming from the 5th canto, chapter number 5, is he saying, Mahat sevam dwaram ahur mumukte. So what does that mean? Here he's saying one can attain the path of liberation from material bondage, right? Right now we are all in material bondage. So this verse is saying that you can achieve liberation from this material bondage where we are by doing what?
Rendering service.
Only by rendering service to high advanced spiritual personalities. This is very important. Mahat seva. Mahat means great.
Highly advanced.
So these personalities are impersonalists and devotees. So this is a very interesting thing that he's saying. Because we are in the devotional path. So we think about personality, personal form of God. But in this verse, the translation is saying that impersonalist also can be Mahat. Because who is an impersonalist? Impersonalist just thinks about the Brahma Jyoti and thinks that God is impersonalist. God doesn't have a personality. That's it. Right? Otherwise, the process that an impersonalist and a process that a devotee takes to achieve their concept of God is the same. Whether you're an impersonalist or whether you are a devotee, both of you will be fasting, both of you will not be meat eating, like that, right? So their method is the same, but the goals are different. So whether one wants to merge into Lord's existence or wants to associate with the personality of Godhead, one should render service to the Mahatmas. So among the impersonalists also, even if you're among the impersonalists, even if you're a Mayavadi, right? Even if you're a Mayavadi and you want to do your thing, then still you have to go to a Mahatma. So for those who are not interested in such activities, now a person who's not interested, doesn't want to serve Mahatmas, but instead they are associated with women, but people fond of women and sex. The path to hell is wide open. The Mahatmas are equipoised. They do not see any difference between one living entity and another. They are very peaceful, prashanta, they said, right? And are fully engaged in devotional service. They are devoid of anger and they work for the benefit of everyone. They do not behave in an abominable way. Such people are known as Mahatmas. Right? So one thing very interesting here is saying, is for those who are not interested in this service to the Mahatmas, but instead what they are doing, they're associated with people fond of women. So this is a very, very interesting thing to keep in mind, that it's not for a man, right? It's not for anybody who's pursuing devotional service or who's here in this material world. It's not that we are saying don't associate with women or something like that, right? When they mean women here, it's not that don't have a wife or something like that. That's legal. But here they're talking about illegally associating with women. Okay? So here, the verse is not saying don't associate illegally with women. It goes even further and it says don't associate with people who illegally associate with women. You see? And if a person is doing that, then the path for hell for them is wide open. Why? Because it's the power of association. It's a power of association that will act on you. So, irrespective of who you associate with. you will get the qualities of the person you associate with. And Prabhupada gives the example, if the iron rod stays in association with the fire for a long time, starts to act like fire. And Vaisheshika Prabhu always says that if you want to become a drunkard, what should you do?
You will drink.
Associate with
Associate
drunkard.
with drunkard.
Hang around with drunkards, right?
Drunkards.
Yes, yeah, you know, like that.
But Mataji, when we put the iron rod in the fire to make something else out of it, so that is why we heat it. It becomes fire, but then we can modify it and take out something else out of it. So how do we relate that to
Because if you take it out from fire, the association is gone,
in life?
right?
Yes.
If you're taking it out of fire, you took into a fire that helped you mold into something. It's a very good point that you bring. To put it in the fire, to mold it, right? To get the qualities of fire, right? And because of being associated with fire, that thing became soft enough for us to be able to mold it into another shape, right? And then for the shape to retain, what do you do? Whatever shape you wanted, you had to take it out of the fire.
Yeah. You had to heat it.
Association is gone. So now after it has gone into that shape, it won't be able to act like fire, right? For example, if you took a piece of iron and you put it into the fire and you made a rolling pin out of it, right? You can make that, or a table out of it, whatever you did, and then you brought it out of the fire. Now, can it burn? No. So that association has to be there and has to be continuously there. And that is why today's verse is saying that those who have committed pious activities in their previous birth and in this birth also. So it's not that, because of the pious activity that I performed in my previous birth, I got this nice birth and now I can do whatever I want. No, you continue that, So in this birth,
if I have molded that iron into the table and I'm using that table, sitting on that and reading and studying the scriptures, and then this is purified totally, this table. It has come to the right use.
But then you did one more action on it, right? You put the Bhagavad-gita on it. Then it became tadiya. But if you just put it into the fire, take it out and nothing. So basically what you did was that you are bringing it again in the... See, when a table got in touch with the fire, it got the quality of the fire. Quality of the fire is not devotional service. Quality of the fire is it burns. So when you put a piece of iron in a fire, you take it out, it'll burn, right? Now, the quality of Bhagavad-gita is anybody who gets in touch with Bhagavad-gita will become transcendental. So now when you brought the Bhagavad-gita and put it on a table, then the table became transcendental.
Yeah.
Right? So you see the association?
Yeah.
You get the qualities of the association that you're getting. So
even if you make a pot out of it, Madhuri, and you're heating milk for the Lord.
Yeah. But then again, you're connecting it to that. That's another. Yes. So now in this case, there are two associations, right? One association was association with a fire that did not do anything for it, but made it a pot. That pot anybody can use for doing anything, right?
Yeah.
Right. But only when you use the pot in another devotional activity, that's when it becomes tadiya, right? Or devotional item of devotional service. Right? So that's what today's verse is saying, that if you associate with men who are fond of women, then you will get into that habit also, just by association. Right? And today's verse was also
Mataji, what I understand is that you have to burn yourself in the fire basically, this life. You have to burn yourself into the fire and then get purified, and then only you can become a pure devotee.
Correct.
You have to work
fire will come, and that fire in this chapter is talked
fire.
about in various ways. There are various fires, right? Right? Fire of mind control, fire of not eating, fire of brahmachari life, right? Like that. Fire of grihastha life. There's fire everywhere, right? And so today's verse is talking about that if you associate with tesham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam tre dvand moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavata. So he's saying Dridhavrata is also the word that is used here. The Dridhavrata with
Determination.
determination. Okay. So now, when we look at devotional service, okay. So devotional service starts with Shraddha or faith.
Yeah.
Okay. So why do some people have Shraddha? So there is Shraddha that is Swabhaviki Shraddha. Swabhaviki Shraddha is
By
that
nature.
by nature. By nature is that, you have been doing something in your previous births, and in this birth, you have got that faith
Gift.
in God. It's already there, natural. Natural faith is there. So Adav Shraddha, in the beginning, there has to be Shraddha. Some faith in God has to be there, right? Adav Shraddha, Tatha, what do we do? Adav Shraddha,
Sadhu
Sadhu
Sangha.
Sangha.
right? Yeah. So now when you do Sadhu Sangha, which is basically, what exactly do you do in Sadhu Sangha? You dance?
Association with devotees.
How do you associate with devotees? What do you do? Dance?
Lot of
Gossip?
preaching.
Huh?
A lot of
Discuss Krishna Katha.
Yeah, you discuss
prasad.
you learned to take prasad, give
Yeah.
prasad, you learned how to do devotional service,
preachings.
pictures together, right? Yeah. You might not preach necessarily all the time to devotees. You could also be preaching to non-devotees.
You can listen to that.
Out in the market, you could be listening to them. So that is what you are doing. Adav Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sangha. So when you go into the association of devotees, then you start doing Bhajana Kriya. Bhajana Kriya is, now you will start doing your bhajan, your devotional service, in a proper manner. Right? You will learn the do's and the don'ts. How do you do this? How do you do that? Proper method. You have to get up and go for Mangal Aarti. That should be the aim, right? Like that. I have to chant 16 rounds every day. It's proper way. Otherwise, before that, it's like, oh yeah, I have a special relationship with Krishna. Yeah. He doesn't mind. He's my friend. Whenever, yeah, whatever. Whenever I feel like it, he's there always. No. We have to first do Vedihi Bhakti. So under some rules and regulations, you have to keep Ekadashi Vrat. You have to do this, you have to do that. Do's and don'ts, right? Those will be there. So that you will get from Sadhu Sangha. A sadhu is not going to tell you. A sadhu might be awake with you in Mangal Aarti because both of you are coming back from a bar at 4 o'clock in the morning. So because of the association, the results could be very different. Adav Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sangha Tatha Bhajana Kriya.
Bhajana Kriya.
Then what happens?
Adav Sadhu Sangha.
Anartha Nivarti.
Anartha Nivritti.
Anartha Nivritti? Oh, wow. Okay. Then what happens with Anartha Nivritti? What is Anartha Nivritti?
It cleans the heart.
Anartha Nivritti starts to clean your heart, right? Right. And some of the cleansing of the heart will come from serving the
devotees.
Pure devotees
of the Lord, right? Yeah. And then Anartha Nivritti. Then after your impurities have. So what do you think these impurities will do? Are doing to you?
Away from Krishna.
Okay, right? So because
away from material things.
Okay. Then so when your anartha nivrittis go away, so the one of the anarthas could be sleeping late in the night, staying awake in the night, watching TV, then getting up late in the morning, want to go over to sleep a little bit more. So like now I'm late for the office, so let's skip the morning program. Right? But then when these anarthas go away from you, that is when you get what is known as nishtha.
Systematically will.
Nishtha is determination. And what is determination used in today's verse? What is the word for that?
Determination.
Say that again.
Dridhavrata.
Yeah, Dridhavrata, right? Yeah. So that's why they are saying that, you have to antagatam papam, all this because of the papa, all the bad things that are happening to you and all that, right? These will go away and then you will come to the stage of nishtha at a very late stage, right? So in the previous verses, Krishna was telling us that, I'm hidden, right? People can't see me. I'm difficult to understand. Then he said but those who worship me, they can only understand me. Bhaktya mam abhijanati.
Vajanati.
Right? It's only through bhakti that you can get to know Krishna. Okay? Now, so remember, when we are in this material world, we are all born into illusion, right? Because of our 4 defective senses. Now, how do I get out of it? Okay? I'm illusioned. I don't understand this. I don't understand that. I think I'm the body. All that, right?
That is devotional service, and then need to have devotee association.
Yeah. So in Brahma Samhita, actually, there's a very famous verse. And earlier we used to read the Brahma Samhita every time that we were, every Saturday that we used to go to the temple. So let me bring up that verse. I really used to like that verse a lot. So today is the opportunity to relish that verse here together with all of you.
Evening only I just read Brahma Samhita.
Very nice. Pramanes tat sadachares tat abhyasir nirantaram bodhayan atma
Atmanatmanam.
apya uttamam labhet. So what this verse is saying? This verse is saying that the highest devotion, okay? So dridhavita. So you have become a dridhavita, you got the determination. Now you are going and doing your devotional service, right? So in the stages that we were talking about, so there was Adav Shraddha, then what was there? Tatha?
Sadhu Sangha.
Sadhu Sangha.
Tatha?
Bhajana Kriya.
Bhajan Kriya.
Bhajan Kriya.
Then Anartha
Anartha
Nivritti.
Anartha Nivritti.
Then we came to Nishtha.
Nishtha.
Right. So after you have make that, Adharavita, Nishtha. So after you make that, after you come to that level of Nishtha, right? And so Nishtha means determination, you're determined. And when you start doing it, you will slowly start liking it. Like in the beginning, when we started chanting, it was like, what nonsense is that? Like a parrot chanting. But then when we get determined that I'm going to chant my rounds properly, when the determination comes and you sit down, you make time, come what may, you say, I'm going to chant my rounds, then the taste develops for you.
Yeah.
Right? So taste is ruchi.
Ruchi.
Ruchi, right? So ruchi. So when that stage of ruchi, what happens is you have a taste and then you have to sit down and you have to do it. And then after ruchi is asakti, attachment. So attachment is higher than taste. Now you're attached to doing it. I have to do it. If somebody is sick, has to go to the hospital, has to get some minor procedure done, they have to be knocked out for 24 hours or whatever. And the first stress that comes to the mind is what's going to happen to the rounds that I chant. Why? Because you have asakti. You have attachment to the fact that you're chanting your rounds. That is asakti. Right? And then after asakti is then, you have bhava. Your love for God will start showing up. And when that love intensifies, it becomes much, much more stronger. That becomes prema. Prema pumartamaha, that is the highest level of devotional service. So here this verse is saying, the highest devotion is attained by slow degrees. Just slowly, you're going to get that. Okay? By the method of constant endeavor for self-realization with the help of scriptural evidence, theistic conduct, and perseverance in practice. This is Brahma Samhita 5.59, a very, very important verse. Okay? So now they're saying, number one, the key point was that it occurs by slow degrees. It is attained by slow degrees.
Slow degrees.
Okay. Then, by what was the first thing that it says? by the method of constant endeavor. So I have to be constantly doing it. That's fine. To try to realize myself. And what are the things that I'm doing? With the help of scriptural evidence. Because I am born a fool and I need to get some knowledge. So from where will I get that knowledge? I have to lean on to the scriptures. Don't go and try to collect knowledge from anybody and everybody and any source. You try to get the knowledge through the scriptures. And scriptures will take some time reading. First time we read the Bhagavad-gita, we just went through it. We said, wow, we've read the Bhagavad-gita. Next time we go there, we are like, oh, I don't think I understand Bhagavad-gita. And then for the rest of life, we just continue reading the same book and we start achieving more and more information from there, right? So, praman is that. So, praman is shastras. The word praman stands also for the scriptures, right? Theistic conduct, sadachar. Why do you think theistic or ethical conduct is necessary for performing devotional service?
That will.
What do you think is ethical? What do you think first is ethical conduct?
Ethical conduct is like systematically they will do the thing in a not irregular timings or anything.
Ethics, is that ethics? Ethics.
Systematic.
Is ethics and systematic the same?
No. Follow the rules.
Following the rules. Yeah. Which rules?
Devotional.
Yeah. In our context, we are talking about rules set by the Lord. That is ethical behavior. So do not steal, do not hurt, all those things. Do not kill. So you have to do that ethics, right? So my question here was, why do you think it is important to be ethical to progress in devotional service? Why can it not be just unethical?
Those ethics actually are the principles of devotional service, Madhurya. Then only we can have devotional service if we are ethical.
I mean, it's sattvic.
I think so.
It's the truth. It's in keeping with the truth.
Yeah.
And if you're unethical, what do you think will happen?
When you're unethical, inevitably you hurt somebody else, and that's a fundamental. That's breaking a fundamental principle, a fundamental law of the spiritual nature. It's help ever, hurt never.
Right. So, so if you take the ethics of not to hurt anybody, and if we hurt somebody, then there is something wrong that we are doing, right? So all these unethical activities, Yoshitam, Sangi Sangam, right? All these unethical activities are like, suppose I take the example of, I'm trying to burn the wood of devotional service, right? I'm trying to burn the wood, and what am I doing? There's a wood, it doesn't burn right now. My devotional service is latent. I want it to burn, get fired up. So I start scriptural evidence. I start reading the scriptures. Okay? But then when I do unethical activities, it is like pouring a water on the piece of wood. On the piece of wood. Now the wood has become damp, so now how will you light it? It will be difficult to light it, and very difficult, probably impossible also, depending on how much water you have poured into it, right? So that's why it's very, very important for us to, while we are doing devotional service is at a higher level. But even if we lived an ethical life, right, it always helps in devotional service, supports us. And we do no illicit sex, no meat eating, no gambling, right? And what's the fourth one? No intoxication, right? So we do all these things. That's why Prabhupada has given us these things that, okay, you have to go and do this. Otherwise, our devotional service will go down. So the pramana is that acharyas, tab abhyase nirantaram. Abhyas is also very important. Right? And abhyas is important, and even more important than abhyas is perseverance in abhyas. Right? Perseverance, you have to persevere. If you don't persevere, what's going to happen?
Fall down.
We will be irregular and go down.
You will go down, right? And in devotional service, what does that mean? Go down.
Will not follow the rule.
Sometimes Mataji, we will get in touch with the people, those who are, you see, having a party and going for drinks or something like that, Mataji, gambling.
Yeah. Yeah.
What happens? Come on, come with me. It does not happen. So that is how.
Yeah. Yeah. So perseverance usually is used in the context of, not in the context of temptations. Right? Somebody came and said, like, come on, let's go to party, and you went. Right? Perseverance is not used in that context. It is used more in the context of, I am on devotional service, giving the example of perseverance in devotional service. If I'm doing devotional service and there are difficulties that come in my life, and despite those difficulties, I still continue in
Continues.
Still continuing.
right? That is known as perseverance.
Perseverance.
Like Prahlad Maharaj, right? He was thrown into a pit of snakes and he continued to do his devotional service. So that is why it is important for us. And so when there is difficulty, it takes us back again to the association. Takes us back to the association. And in the association, you see others also suffering and others continuing to persevere in their devotional service. Then you get inspired from them. And then you will say, okay, such and such a person, even worse thing happened with them. And I'm just so upset just because of this little thing that happened, or what seems to be little as compared to what other person is going through. So association of devotees is very, very important. And when you see how, they are progressing in their devotional service, then your faith is going to increase even more. So, adhav shraddha tata sadhu sangha tata bhajana kriya. Usually people ask that, is it like a step-by-step thing, that in the beginning you had natural shraddha and then you went to the sadhus and then you took an initiation, you did bhajana kriya, then your anarthas are all gone. Anartha nivritti is a very long stage. Very, very long stage, where because depending on the anartha that we have accumulated over such a big period of time, right? So all these things kind of happen in parallel. With a small amount of Shraddha, you can go to a devotee association. That doesn't make you love God, right? You're still at that lower stage, right? And your Shraddha is still Komal, right? Anybody can sway it. You came and sat in ISKCON lecture and you said, oh yeah, Krishna is everybody. Then you went to a church and somebody said, Jesus Christ is fine. So yeah, I like that too. So then I'm going to become a Christian, or I'm going to become a Buddhist, like that. The Shraddha is Komal. It can be swayed in this direction or that direction, right? But as you continue to be in the association of devotees and you see that their Shraddha never fails. And that is why in that verse from Bhagavatam that we read, he was talking about Mahatmas. So we should also take the association of Mahatmas and serve them. And the classic example of that famous story is Narad Muni, who in his previous births was the son of a maid servant, and he served some of the Mahatmas during Chaturmas season, right? He used to do the dishes and all that stuff, right? Eat the remnants. He was serving them. And then he became Narada. So you can imagine the phenomenal, how he was literally catapulted into such a high position like that from the blessings of the Mahatmas. So it's very important. So when you are in the association of Mahatmas, then you will get another kind of Shraddha, right? Which is a stronger faith that you get by association. That's why you might just wonder why everywhere they're always talking about association of devotee, association of devotee. You cannot do anything without the association of devotees, actually. Because if you think I'm going to sit down and do things alone, especially in this Kali Yuga, you are accompanied by your mind. And your mind can take you to places. The mind can become a chariot and say, hey, come on, hop, little soul. I'll go and show you the world. And then you are gone. Here today and gone tomorrow. No more coming to the temple. No more association. God knows what happened, right? Like that. So it's very, very important for us to cleanse ourselves. Yeshanto antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam. So we should be doing some activities also. Te dvanda moha nirmukta. So this dvanda is that duality, right? So duality, we face dualities throughout. Why? Because we are in this mode of material world which has got dualities. It is characterized by dualities. It's not absolute, right? So here good means something and bad means something different. And so there's always these two sides of it. There's heat and there's cold, like good and bad, sorrow and happiness, like that. And so when I'm faced with that, so the duality will be liking something or not liking what I think is good and not liking something which I think is bad, right? So when I'm in the mode of ignorance, I do not like to hear Krishna Katha. So there is that fight going on between good and bad. And what wins is I won't listen to Krishna Katha, right? And when you are elevated through scriptural evidence, association of devotees, living a ethical life, right? Practicing and persevering in devotional service, then you will rise to higher modes. And when you reach the mode of sattvam, the mode of goodness, there also the duality is there. But the duality is that is bad, this is good, and it's the right good. It'll say, okay, this is good, right? I should not take alcohol. I won't do that, right? But it is still not transcendental. It is still in the mode of material nature, right? And as you consider and progress in your devotional service, then you will reach higher levels, and that's when you will transcend. But it is important. But it is important to reach the stage of sattvam. Unless you reach the stage of goodness, you cannot go to the transcendental mode. So a person can jump. I can be in the mode of absolute rotten ignorance. And from there, I can jump and go to the mode of goodness. Do you have some examples? Rotten ignorance to goodness.
Ajamil Mataji?
Samiti.
Goodness.
Mataji, he
Nitai,
was totally rotten,
yeah.
and then you see, when he was dying, so he came to goodness. Mataji.
Was he in goodness?
He started
Chanting
praying to
the
the
holy
Lord.
name, chanting the holy names of the Lord is mode
Jagai and Madhai.
Jagai Mathai?
of goodness. Chanting holy names of the Lord is mode of goodness.
No.
What mode is that?
Yes.
Yes? No?
No mode.
Yeah,
No.
that is mode of goodness.
There is mode in goodness. That's in mode of goodness.
It is above the modes of goodness, chanting.
It's above the modes of goodness. Remember, remember, the modes of goodness apply only to the material world. And devotional service is not a material activity, right? Material is not a. So mode of goodness will be: I take shower, I wear clean clothes, I brush my teeth, I floss it 2 times, I speak nicely to people, I don't hurt them, I drink filtered water, I don't drink alcohol. It's all mode of goodness, and you can do all of that without connecting to Krishna, right? Can you do that? Right? I can do all that. Do people do that? Are there people in the mode of goodness in this world who don't
Yeah.
believe who don't believe in God, right?
Yes.
So God is when you transcend. So parthivat daruno dhumas tasmat agni trayimaya tamastastu rajas tasmat sattvam yad brahma darshanam. So it's a parthivat daruno dhumas. So from just earth, if you take a pot, or if you go to the backyard and take out some earth, right? It's no use to you. If you want to do some yajna, that earth is not useful to you. But from that same earth, a tree is born, and from that tree you get wood. So that wood is still better because that wood you can use for doing your yajna. So Parthivad means earth. Parthivad daru is wooden. So Parthivad daruno dhumas tasmas agni traimama. So like, so from earth, wood is much better because you can use it. Or you can also say that if in the process of a yajna, it's no good to just have a wood, because if just the wood is lying there, then there is no yajna there, right? It's just the wood there. Because yajna, you need fire. So he's saying, okay, then the person starts to light fire. The fire is still not coming. There's some smoke that is coming there. So they say, okay, you know what? From a dead log or an inactive log of wood, better than that is a log which is burning, but just giving you out smoke. It's not giving out fire yet, but it is still better than a log which has no traces of any fire. Smoke means there is fire going to come, right? So Parthiva daruno dhumas tasmat agni traimaya. And then agni is even better than smoke because you can perform rituals. Tamas tastu rajas tasmat. Similarly, from tamas, rajas is better. From the mode of ignorance, better than mode of ignorance is the mode of passion. And better than the mode of passion is mode of goodness. Why? Sattvam yad brahma darshanam. That from the mode, after you elevate yourself to the mode of goodness, only after that you'll be able to see the Lord. Sattvam, Brahma Darshanam, to see the reality, right? Now, you can jump from mode of ignorance. You can't jump from mode of ignorance directly to transcendental. You have to go through mode of goodness. You have to be elevated to that position. And from there, you will do devotional service properly, and then you'll be raised, right? For example, the hippies that Prabhupada met here in USA, right? They were in mode of ignorance. And then they started following the four regulative principles, came to the mode of goodness, and then started pursuing devotional service properly, right?
Mataji, I just have a question about what you said about chanting the name of the Lord, and that's beyond the mode of goodness. But what if somebody is chanting with a view to getting something in return? Like, let me chant, and then I want some riches, or I want to, something material in return for that. Is that still beyond the mode of goodness? I mean, because it's mingled with material.
It is mingled there, but the effect will still be there. And that is the power of the holy name of the Lord. That it might not be as effective as pure chanting, but it will lead to chanting come subsequently. Because the name of the Lord is so powerful. What is that verse? Sanketyam parihasyam vya stovanam helanam evava vakuntanam granam asheshagha haram vidhu. So what it says is Sanketyam, that like indirectly if somebody calls out the name of the Lord. For example, Ajamila. Ajamila was not calling out to the Lord, he was calling out to his son. Right? But the holy name is super. Sanketyam parihas. Parihas means in fun. Right? Like a wife is chanting, husband is not interested in Krishna consciousness. Husband comes and say, "Hey, sorry, ye mummy ko dekho, mummy sare time Hare Krishna kar diya." They all are laughing. Bacha bolta, "Ah, papa, ye Hare Krishna, mummy to Hare Krishna ho gayi." So they all chanted the names of the Lord, but they were doing it in parihas. Sanketam parihasyam stobanam helanam. Stobanam is in a musical sense. You are a singer, a Bollywood movie singer, and then there is a song in Bollywood and you were hired to sing for it. So this was purely a material reason why you are singing. An example of the situation that you raised just now, Rani Mataji. So purely you're doing it, but the name of the Lord is so powerful. It will have its effect. So, Sobanam Helanam Evava. Helanam is derisively. Get out, you Hare Krishnas. So, Vaikuntha Nama Grahanam, if you take the name of the Lord like that, Asheshaga Haram Vidu. This is so powerful. Ashesh means nothing remains. Shesh means remains. Ashesh means nothing remains. Nothing remains means completely. Haram Vidu, right? What does it do? It eradicates all your sins. That none of the sins are left behind. That is the power of the holy name of the Lord. So that is why we should always say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare Rama,
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 Hare
Hare
Hare. Okay, so I will stop now here. 17 minutes over the hour. You better pay the extra fees. 17 minutes over. Any questions, any reflections, any thoughts, any concerns?
Mataji, I was just thinking about the 10 offenses of the holy name of the Lord, of the holy name by we chanting the holy name. Like Aruni Mataji said that when we chant the holy name, can be, if somebody expects some fruit out of that. So will that also be considered as an offense, or it's okay?
What are the 10 offenses to the holy name of the Lord?
Yeah, Mataji, no, but I was thinking, it just came to my mind, Mataji, doing sinful actions against the
On the strength.
at the strength of the holy name of the Lord. On the strength of the holy name of the Lord.
No, those two things are two
with
different
this-
situations. No, those two are two very
Yeah.
different situations, right? See, doing
Okay.
sinful activities on the strength of the holy name is very different from chanting the holy name for some material gain.
Yeah, right, Mataji.
Wait,
Right?
what does that mean? Doing sinful activities on the strength of the holy name? What does that mean?
That I will do sinful activities, and then
Keep
after
on chanting.
I will sit and I will chant 20 rounds.
Oh, you mean to block out, eradicate the effect of the sinful activities?
Cancel it out,
Yeah.
right? And that is why, then this is praṇaśyatam. That you're doing praṇaśyat, you did something wrong. And what is a praṇaśyat? You chant the names of the Lord 20 times. And then come Monday, you sin again. Why?
Like Srila Prabhupada said, Mataji, you're going to the church and every Friday you go and
Everywhere there is
pray to
there.
the Lord.
Everywhere, yeah, everywhere it is there. So why is it happening? Because the tendency has not gone. The tendency to commit the sin has not gone away. Praṇaśyatam will just, clear your backlog. In some cases, it'll clear your backlog, but then it doesn't
Yeah.
stop you from committing newer sins. It's only devotional service. Karmani nirdhati kintu cha bhakti bhajam govindamadi purusham
Vishnu
tamaham
Tamaham
bhajami.
Bhajami.
It's only devotional service that will root out even the cause why you were performing sinful activities. It'll remove that cause. Why do you think people do sinful activities? Tell me. Give me examples of some sinful activities.
I mean, they either can't help it or they're that bent of mind. Some people are just naturally, I've seen that they just do certain activities, even though they know it's wrong, they don't care.
No, but why do you think, not caring is a different part, but why would a person do sinful activities?
To get
What do they
happy
get?
gratification, Mataji.
Sense gratification. Majorly for sense gratification, either for themselves or for their extended self, which is family. Right? So, the reason for doing sinful activities here in this world is because I want to be the enjoyer. What does devotional service teach you?
Krishna is the enjoyer. He is the only Purusha.
And in devotional service, whenever you do something, it is for your enjoyment?
No,
Krishna's
it is for the pleasure of the Lord.
Right? The moment you start doing things for Krishna's enjoyment, these sinful tendencies will go away, right?
Yeah.
That's why devotional service removes your sinful tendencies. Right? Now somebody might just say that, oh, but what if I want to steal money? For the temple, I want to do that. I want to be the, Robin Hood, like that. And that is where devotee association will come. Because if you are in devotee association and you want to go, Prabhu, let's go and loot that bank or the jewelry store, and then they will advise you against it. So even if because of previous samskaras, some of these thoughts are coming to our mind and it's a perverted way of doing devotional service, your devotee association will save you. Because you'll have devotees advising, giving you good, sound advice. Okay? So, so that is when you are chanting things, when you're taking the names of the Lord, in the purpose, from the purpose of, I have a backlog of karmic reactions, let me clear it, but then I now got the solution. I'll continue to do sinful activities and I'll continue to clear them off. And that is what prayaschittam athopartam manye kunjar kunchara. So he says that this act of prayaschit is almost like the bathing of an elephant. So what does the elephant do? It goes into the river, it will take a bath, it will come out, and then it will pick up some of the dust,
Sand,
place it all over the body. So what is the fun of doing? What is the reason of doing that? Or taking a bath if you had to go back into the dust again, right? But the devotional service is actually going to root out that tendency to sin that goes out, right? And then, so that is that offense is that when you chant the holy names of the Lord as you know, an elixir to all the bad activities that we have done. Okay. And then another bad use of the holy name is that you want to use the holy name as a karam kandi activity, right? That I will chant the holy names of the Lord to get this. I will chant the holy names of the Lord to get that. But then, you remember, it said in 7th chapter of the Bhagavad-gita, Chaturvida bhajante ma jana sukritino arjuna artho jikyasu artarti yani bharatare. So artho, I can also reach out, right? But then, is it wrong to call out like that to the Lord? Is it wrong for the devotee to call out like that to the Lord for this, right? And it's okay, because at a certain level, at a certain point, you reach that level where you have relationship only with Krishna. So for everything you go to Krishna. And that's why you see in the 10th canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam, when there are so many pastimes of Krishna that are described, and Krishna and his friends, they are in the forest, they're in the jungle, you know, and of course in jungle, there are all kinds of demons and all that. And every time they just reach out to Krishna. The Vrajvasis, they always reach out to Krishna. Even if he's a 5-year-old child, they all look upon and they go to Krishna because that's the only thing they understand, like that, right? But that's a very higher level of relationship. Most of us don't have that relationship. Most of us have a relationship like, oh, Krishna, you know, I'm having trouble, you know, help me get out of it and all that. A bigger prayer in the time of distress is not to ask Krishna to relieve you of the distress, because distresses are coming as a punishment to us, but to say that give me the strength to bear it and quickly let me learn the lesson that you want me to learn. Because the moment you learn the lesson, the distress will automatically go away, because it was put there for that purpose in the first place, right? So when we were talking, when we were talking in the morning, we were in the beginning, I think Vashana Mataji asked that question, that so when we do, when somebody insults us and we are going through a bad situation in life, then what is the reason for that? So that I had said that there could be 3 reasons. We'll talk about 2. So the first reason was that it's my karmic reaction that is coming back at me. Second reason could be it's a new thing this person is doing. I've never done nothing to deserve it. And the third could be, it could be something that Krishna arranges as a situation for you, so that you suffer so much that you get out of those attachments and then turn your face towards Krishna. So, or actually not turn your face towards Krishna, you have already turned your face towards Krishna. And now Krishna is guiding you through so that you quickly give up these association and attachment with the material world, because they are not good for devotional service. So sometimes he will do that. Like for Narad Muni, right? He took away the mom of a fatherless child, 5-year-old, the mom dies. Where will the child go? But Krishna took care of the child, right? So sometimes Krishna will do such things in life. That's the third one. But we should also be very careful not to go and ask like, Krishna, yes, I want to exceed in devotional service. I want to progress really quickly. So give me some kalesha. Don't do that. It is difficult. It is difficult, yeah.
Kunti Devi, she said, no?
Yeah, don't think you are Kunti.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult to, you know, what she went through. She's an exalted devotee of the Lord.
Mataji, when you look at these, Kunti Devi went through so much. Draupadi went through so much. Why is this in wherever you read, people go through some problem or the always troubles are there in everybody's life. There is no smooth journey, Mataji. So better to accept the life the way it comes. Krishna has, made these steps to go through in our life. I think so. So better accept it and go through it. Because he knows better.
Yeah, but it also takes the right association to tell you that you are going through this, it will end. You have entered a sphere of misery, but at one day you will come out of the sphere on the other end. And when you come out of the sphere on the other end, your resume has become better. Because earlier your resume did not have the sphere in it to say that I know how to handle that. Now you can say, I know how to handle that. I emerged victorious. And the devotee association will boost you and help you and support you to go over that. Non-devotee association will agitate
So
you.
good resume to go back to Godhead.
Right? That all goes into your resume.
I hope that happens.
But don't unnecessarily ask for spheres. Krishna
Yes,
will
yes.
challenge Krishna.
Then Krishna will give too much
Too much. Yeah, that's what I'm
to
saying.
handle.
Yeah. Yeah. So don't. Okay?
Too much to handle is also difficult.
Yeah. All right, then. Thank you so much, dear devotees.
Thank you,
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Vanchakalpatarpyasya kripasindhubhyam padanam pavanebhyo namo namah.
Very nice class. Thank you,
Hari
Mataji.
Yes,
Bol.
Mataji, wonderful
Very
class.
good. Thank you very much, Mataji.
Class made wonderful by the purpose of Srila Prabhupada. Srila
Thank you.
Prabhupada.
Jai.
Yay.
Shraddha Mataji ki jai.
Shraddha Mataji ki jai.
Yeah, okay, now time to shut down the call. Okay.